gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Randall Lamb Roof here in Taylorsville, Indiana, and you are watching the Ham Radio 2.0 podcast, live from the Ham Shack and YouTube.
Ham Radio 2.0, episode 73. Good afternoon. This is Jason. I'm KC5HWB. And in case you can't tell, it's Christmas time. So, it's a little bit cold. Well, I got a heater in here. It's not cold in here, but it's cold outside right now. It's 35 degrees outside. That's cold for Texas. Some of you up north will think, oh, it's like -10 here. Yeah, we don't get that cold down here, but 35 is cold for us. But that's what it is today. So, today's episode of Ham Radio 2.0 is going to be on another Yaesu System Fusion episode. So what you have to know, if you know anything about me, I've done a few episodes on Yaesu System Fusion. I recorded a forum at HamCom in 2016, and I did an unboxing of the FT-100D radio, which is actually right there, and I'm going to be using that one here in a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one. I've got an HRI200 box connected to the back of it. I'm going to take that radio and open up and connect it to my laptop and open up the Wires-X program and put it into Wires-X mode, and we're going to use it to connect as a node to to probably just one room. Yaesu System Fusion has rooms, and a room is similar to a talk group on DMR or similar to a reflector on D-Star. So they call them rooms in System Fusion. And the one drawback about Fusion that I've always complained about is that you have to have an HRI200 box to get into the Yaesu Wires-X rooms. You can't just connect like DMR. All you need is a repeater. You can plug your repeater in and talk any talk group you want to. Depending on what the C-Bridge has available, you can get a D-Star and key in a certain key sequence from the keypad and connect any reflector you want to. But with Yaesu System Fusion, you need the radio plus the HRI200 box, which I thought was a little bit lame because it's just an extra expense, is what it is. So I've talked down about Fusion in the past, and I've used Fusion a little bit kind of here and there. I've not given it a fair shake, not nearly as much as DMR. Really, my stance on Fusion is it's not the latest and greatest in digital. In fact, a lot of the aspects of it are very, very similar to DMR, except DMR has 2 time slots and Fusion only has 1. The two systems are they both use the same hardware codec. They both use the same vocoder. And there are guys who have taken a Raspberry Pi and connected it to the back of a System Fusion repeater and created a single time slot repeater on DMR, similar to a hotspot. So you can kind of hack with it. And in fact, there's one of our System Fusion repeaters here in Grapevine has one of those boards hooked. Now, I don't remember the name of this board, but the repeater trustee picked up a board. It's just a little board, little computer board that plugs into the back of the repeater. He got it at Dayton this year, plugged it into the back of the repeater, and it will allow that repeater to do D-Star. I'll go look up the name of that board and put a link in the website. Go to my website, hamradio2.com. Yes, live from the hamshack.tv is still up there, and will be. I'm not getting rid of it, but this is Ham Radio 2.0, live from the Ham Shack. So kind of double branded. My show is double branded according to Gary Pierce, KN4AQ, and he's right. It is. So I'm trying to get more towards Ham Radio 2. So I've registered the domain name hamradio2.com, and the name of the series has always been Ham Radio 2.0, but live from the hamshack.tv is still a URL to get to my episode. So go out there, look at episode 73, and there will be a link to that D-Star board along with some other links to some other stuff that I've talked about on this episode. So, So System Fusion and DMR are very similar. DMR's got some better features in some ways. System Fusion's got some neat features in other ways. You can connect repeaters together with System Fusion via rooms. You can't really do that with DMR. So I don't dislike Fusion. I just don't like it when Fusion guys start talking about how great it is and how DMR's, they either don't acknowledge DMR. They say that, I've heard a few guys say that Fusion's the only digital mode we've had in amateur radio since D-Star, which is completely untrue, because you've got System Fusion, you've got DMR, you've also got NXDN, Kenwood's Next Edge, you've got P25. There are about 3 P25 repeaters on ham radio frequencies here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've talked on 2 of them. So P25 is out there. That's an expensive mode, in case you didn't know. But it sounds good. Sounds very similar to DMR, similar to Fusion. So System Fusion's another digital mode. It does have some cool features. We're going to look at that. Special thanks to a friend of mine, Kevin, K5ORN. He is the one who allowed me to record his presentation at HamCom in 2016. If he does that presentation again in 2017, I'll probably record that again, because there's been some updates and whatnot, new repeaters, new radios, a couple new 2-meter radios. But he is kind of spearheading an effort to connect repeaters from the South Fort Worth area down the I-35 interstate all the way down to Austin. I don't think, at the time of this video, I don't think that connection is 100% solid all the way down, meaning, like, I think there's a couple of spots down there where they haven't identified repeaters to connect into the network. But they've created a room, and I don't remember the name of the room, but he gave me the number of it, so we're going to look at that here in just 1 second. And he said, okay, connect your repeaters to this room, and you can talk into the same room, driving basically from Fort Worth, Texas, south down 35 to Austin, Texas, which is really cool. It's really cool. And you can switch repeaters along the way. Once you get out of repeater 1 range, you go into repeater 2, go into repeater 3 in this thing, but you always be in the same room, because those repeaters have agreed, the trustees on those repeaters have agreed to connect into that room as their home room, what they call their home room, and leave the repeaters. Now, you can connect to any of those repeaters and key up and have it connect to another room and talk if you want to. But if they've set it up correctly, there's a way to set it up to where your repeater, after like 10 or 15 minutes of no activity, it will default back to a home room. That's why they call it a home room, or default room, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, so I believe all these repeaters are set up for this one I-35 corridor to be set up to be their home room, so that even if someone connects and starts having a QSO on another room, once they're done, the repeater will auto default itself back to the home room, which is pretty neat. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to show you how to set up a node from the FTM-100D mobile radio. You can do that 2 ways. You can set it up as a Simplex node, in which case you'll need a second. Well, actually, no, you need a second radio either way. So you can set it up as a Simplex node to where it's transmitting and receiving on one frequency like Simplex. And then you take your HT, you have to have System Fusion HT or a second System Fusion radio. Because once you set your FT100 radio up with the HRI200 box connected to it and plug it into the computer and launch the Wires-X software and then boot up the radio so that it's in Wires-X mode, the radio is no longer usable as a radio. It's basically a node at that point in time. So you can tell the radio to point to a Simplex frequency, or if you have a repeater within range that's Wires-X or that's a Fusion repeater capable, doesn't matter if the repeater has internet or not, because you're going to use internet through your node. You can point the node to the repeater, and then I can key up the node from inside my house on my HT, and then the node keys I key the node from the HT, and then the node keys the repeater, and then the repeater is in whatever room I have the node in. So it acts just like a repeater would, like any other repeater would. It would boost your signal. So someone on the other side of town can hear the repeater talking to the repeater. Someone driving down the road can hear the repeater, tell that I'm on a System Fusion room, join in the conversation, that kind of thing. On a Simplex node, it's basically just for 1 or 2 people that's close within range. But on a node connected to a repeater, everyone who has access to that repeater with a Fusion radio would be able to join in the conversation. So that makes it kind of cool. There's several repeaters that are hooked up this way because Yaesu requires a hardware update of the original FT1DX repeater to connect an HRI200 box to the back of that repeater, which gives it the Wires-X access. So you've got your repeater, you've got internet access, you've got your Wires-X box, but without this hardware upgrade, or if you've got one of the new repeaters, you probably already got the hardware upgrade. If you got one of the original repeaters, you don't have the hardware upgrade, so you have to send it back to Yaesu, get them to upgrade it, have them send it back, connect the HRI200 to the internet, and you can have a node on the repeater, internet access on the repeater. But again, you need that HRI200 box, which is about $120. If you're interested in HRI200 box, go out to Main Trading Company, mtcradio.com. You can call them on the phone. If you call them on the phone, tell them that Ham Radio 2.0, Jason from Ham Radio 2.0 sent you, or you can just order it on their website, mtcradio.com. You can get that out there as well. Appreciate Richard and the guys being real helpful with questions I have on this stuff that I don't know as much about as some other stuff. But anyway, so that is System Fusion. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hook up this FTM-100D radio. It's already hooked to my HRI200, so I'm going to bring my laptop out of the house, connect it up, launch the Wires-X application, and set the radio into Simplex node mode, and then I'm going to take my HT and have that node connect to the North Texas room. I don't know what they're calling this room I was just talking about. And then we're going to see if we can do some QSOs out there. I'm going to send a text to Kevin here in a little bit and see if he'll join me in just for some test. There may be some people in there already, I don't know, but if not, I'll get somebody to come in there and test for it. So Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Happy whatever. Season's greetings. I say everything because I don't care. It's my show. And I'm going to say Merry Christmas if I want to say Merry Christmas, and that's just the way it is. So, because we celebrate Christmas here in Texas. So not everyone does, and that's cool. Not a big deal. If you call me and you say, hey, Happy Hanukkah, I'm not going to be offended. I'm not Jewish, but Happy Hanukkah to you too. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents. So you guys take a look at this Yaesu System Fusion setup, and I hope you like the video. Before we get started, this is the HRI200 box. And it says, you know, Wires-X HRI200 on it right there on the front. It has got interfaces on the back. USB is where the computer connection goes. And then your radio 1 and radio 2. I've never tried to hook up more than one radio to it at a time, but I guess you can do that. You could probably hook a radio and a repeater to it maybe. I'm not sure. But the plugs are the same. It does come with two different... Well, if you watched a previous video of mine, you noticed when I said my HRI200 box did not come with cables, and by the time I realized it had been several months, and I contacted the place I got it from, and they wouldn't give me cables, so I had to purchase cables that should have come with the box the first time. But it should come with the USB cable, and it should come with 2 interface cables, one for analog and one for digital. So the older radios like the FT-8800 and FT-8900, you can connect to wires. It's not Wires-X, but you can connect to wires and do analog wires, connect repeaters over the internet via analog wires. So this box will do both of those. So you can do that. So we're going to plug this up to the computer real quick and show you guys what the software looks like. This is the Wires-X software that you install. I've got it running on a Windows laptop right now, which is the laptop I always use for showing you guys programming of code plugs and radios and software and everything like that. So got the same software running here. This is my favorites list here, and I just added the Austin, Texas room, which is node number 21636. Now what it just did just there was it auto-connected. I can go here, and I can go into settings, and I can go to return to room and put in whatever room number I want right here. So basically what happens is when you have your node up and online, whether it's a Simplex node or whether it's connected to a repeater, someone can connect up to the repeater, contact it, and change rooms and talk on it. And then when they're done, if they just drop and leave it and don't put it back in the room it was on, perhaps they didn't know it was the room it was in, the node will auto-connect back to your default room after a few minutes. So it did it pretty quickly this time because I just launched the software right before I started the camera, but I was not connected to any other node at that time. So it connected here pretty quickly. There may be some settings in here where you can go back and change the amount of time it waits. I've not dug that deep into it, but this is where you set up your location, call sign. I can create a room and name it whatever I want to, that kind of thing. So now these are all currently the nodes. There's 10 nodes in the room, including myself, which is I'm right here, KC5HWB-Simplex. So what I've done is I've taken my FT-100 radio, I've plugged in the HRI200 box and connected the box to the radio, obviously, and the computer here. Power off the FTM-100 radio, and then the two buttons in the front, and I'll show you guys a picture of this here in a minute. The two buttons in the front hold down while you power it on, and that puts it into Wires-X mode. And on the front of the screen right now, I can see it says HRI200 Wires-X, and it shows the frequency that I'm on. And in here, this screen, let's see, I think it's still, no, transceiver. This transceiver screen, I can set it to where, now this stuff up here is grayed out because I'm currently connected to a room. But I can set it to digital DW, digital double, or analog. I've never used anything except the digital. So this is dual watch mode. This is double transceiver control. The port we saw, the two ports in the back of the HRI200 box, you'd probably pick this one if you had two different radios connected to your HRI200 box. This is the word I'm looking for. So you can see I've got uplink and downlink as the same frequency. I'm on 441.675 right now. I could, if I wanted to, change this, and in my, I forget where to change that, but there's a way you can go in here and change it to connect not as a simplex node, but to actually key up and on a repeater. So I can point it to a repeater if I want to. It may open up a few more options. In fact, I think that it does. Here, let me show you this. Cancel out of this. Let's disconnect from the room. And my status window's right here. It showed me I'm disconnected. Back in here, transceiver. And now this has got a, let's see. No. I'd have to go back and read up on it. I've done this before, but it's been a few months. So there's a way to go in here and tell it to connect as a... See, it auto-connected just then. Let's look at this real quick. I went ahead and turned this auto-connect off because I kept getting auto. I was trying to get in here to some other settings, and it kept auto-connecting on me. Like I would have Windows open and it would return to room, which seems kind of dumb. It seems like they should have programmed it to where it wouldn't do a return to room if you're in here changing stuff, but whatever. That's what it does. So there's a way to go in here. You can set this to reverse, and you can do your uplink, downlink, and you can set it to point to a repeater like this. Like I can go +5 offset. So the uplink is 446.675, and the downlink is 441.675. You want this to be opposite of the repeater. So my listening frequency would be the transmit frequency of the repeater, the offset frequency of the repeater, and my receive frequency in the software here would be the output, the output of the repeater. Basically, it's backwards of the repeater. So if I really wanted to do this for a local repeater, I got a local repeater at 444.700, so I would want 449. .700, and then I'd want a -5. And that's just Windows being wonky. Then I could apply it, and you're going to hear the radio reboot. You probably, there it is. You might have heard that. Okay. And now I can go in here. I've got my HT off screen right now, and I can go. Yeah. Turn my turn my offset off on my radio. And I just keyed up the repeater. You can't see it because it's not on the screen, but that's what I did. I just keyed up the repeater. KC5 HWB testing. So you can do it like that. But but for the purposes of this demonstration, I just want to set up a Simplex node. So I'm going to turn this off. We're going to go back to 441.675. This is just a frequency that I chose. And I'm going to turn off this offset. Oops. Right there. Got 441.6, yeah. On both. There. There we go. Tell my HT here not to do a positive offset. KC5 HWB test. Now I'm going into the Simplex node right now, but it's not connected anywhere. So I'm basically not transmitting anywhere outside of the 1 watt I'm putting out of this HT. So I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to do settings, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this return to room back on. And I'm just going to let it sit here for a minute because it's going to connect itself. And there might be, like I said earlier, there might be a way to go in there and tell it to wait 5 minutes or wait 10 minutes before it does a return to room. I don't know where to do that. I've never looked it up. On a DMR repeater, if you have a push-to-talk timeout talk group, you can set it for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or however long you want. It's actually set in the C bridge, but it is configurable regardless. So I would assume that you could go in and do the same thing here, but like I said, okay, there it goes. Now, sometimes it'll come up, and for some reason it'll say, not in room, but there we go. There we go. Okay, it just took it a minute to come up. So there we go. Let's see. Nope. Turn my volume up here. And no, well, shoot. My radio freaked out on me. It turned the offset back on. Let me turn that off real quick. Okay, here I go. Watch the screen. KC5 HWB. See if that guy comes back to me. I think it was I didn't hear what his call sign was. It was one of these. Well, these are all pretty much all the ones you see on the screen right now are repeaters, not necessarily individuals. They say ND after, which means node. This is the repeater. This is a repeater, but a node can be a simplex node. It can be a repeater. I put mine as SIM for simplex because I don't know if these nodes are repeaters nodes or if they're simplex nodes. So I like to kind of differentiate in mine. KC5 HWB testing in Austin, Texas room. And you can see me come up green. It shows who I am, and it shows which repeater I'm going into. And since both my simplex node here, there we go. AI5AI. Okay, that was in the that was coming through the HT that I have next to me. We're going to go back to him. Good afternoon, AI5AI from KC5HWB. I'm just doing some testing on the Wires-X software on my computer here, and got it hooked up to an FTM-100 with an HRI200 box here at the house, just running as a simplex node. connected into this Austin room here that I've been talking to Kevin K5ORN about.
Ah, cool. Well, Kevin is the man. He can definitely help you out on it, but it looks like you got the right combination and everything is sounding good on this end, so you must have a good internet connection. I wish I
had. Yeah, Roger. Yeah, internet here is fine. I'm just at the house I'm actually in the ham shack right now, and doing, just kind of tinkering around with this. I was talking to Kevin, I don't know, a month ago, a few weeks ago, I don't remember when it was, and he was telling me about kind of a coordinated effort to get all these repeaters set up down between Austin and Fort Worth. So I thought, I'll there's a few Fusion repeaters around me, but none of them have internet access to my knowledge. Or at least not full-time internet access, I'll put it that way. And so I thought, shoot, I'm just going to set up a Simplex node and leave it there here at the house with the, and then tune my FT1D radio over to it and join in the conversation that way.
Well, that's great. You'd be surprised how many people have done that. I know a couple of people that where they're located, there aren't any Fusion repeaters, nothing that they have in range, even with an outside antenna. So when they heard about it, they set up their own node and, just Simplex node like you're doing, and put it up on their tower and all that, and they get, 10, 15 miles spinning.
Yeah, I lost him.
On the terrain,
there it is.
Range, and works out great for them. I'm assuming you're somewhere up in the DFW area, north of.
I think he might have timed out his own thing there. Although it says on the screen he's still transmitting. I don't know if that's his. Oh, see, I got a socket connection timeout, so I don't know if that's on my end or his end or what. But since I have it to go to home, it should just reconnect by itself. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, Don, I got most of that. My connection timed out, so sometimes the Wires-X software will just time out the connection. I don't know if that's a problem with my configuration setting, or I don't know what that is. I don't have enough experience to say that. I took this thing to Costa Rica to do some, because we did a de-expedition to Costa Rica in October, and I could not get it to connect for more than just 15 or 20 seconds there. It kept timing out, so I thought it was a firewall issue at the location where we were, but I don't know. Maybe something in my settings in my software. Anyway, yeah, I got most of what you said. Yeah, I'm up in Grapevine. I'm about, 15, 20 miles north of where Kevin is, and talk to him semi-regularly on the machines out here. And he was telling me that there's, in fact, he sent out a map a few days ago about several repeaters that are all linked into this room down I-35, so you could, kind of plan a coordinated trip and whatnot, and go switching repeaters as you're driving south down 35 from Fort Worth to Austin. And if you know which repeater to go into, just kind of stay in this room the whole time and carry on a conversation for the whole trip, which sounded like a really cool idea to me.
Yes, sir. And of course, this repeater that I'm talking on right now is one of them. On your timeout problem, if you go into settings, and I'm trying to remember which one, but there's a box, you can click for unlimited timeout timer, or you can select 5 to 60 minutes for a timeout, and then in that same window, you set the home room or the room you want it to default back to, and so on. You might take a look at that. And I tell you what, my friend, I've got my son-in-law and
Already set.
my other reader on the phone. So get back to the phone with him. I'll get back with you a little bit. If not 73, and catch a little.
Okay, Don, thanks for the QSO. Appreciate the info. Yeah, I've got the return to room already set, and I've got unlimited timeout timer on also. So I think it's something else, but I'll have to do some playing with it and see. So thanks for the QSO 73. Hope to talk to you again soon. KC5 HWB up here in Grapevine, Texas. So that is that. So we can see who's all connected, hold conversations. Some of you saw my episode 71, which was my Bound for Belton video, where I talked. I drove down to the Belton Henfest and stayed on Brandmeister. I was talking in through a mobile hotspot, so it was easy to stay on Brandmeister. I'm going to do a similar. I wish this only pops up when I've got this screen cap software running, and I guess I could change it, but I just don't want to because I don't want to have to run in minimal color mode for the rest of the time. Anyway, I've got there's another Belton Ham Fest next March of 2017, and I plan to do this Fusion trip. I'm going to stick the Fusion radio in the truck, program up the repeaters for the drive down, and try to talk into this room the whole time when I'm down there. So that ought to be a fun trip. But there is Wires-X as with a FTM-100D radio running as a Wires-X Simplex node connected into a room. So I told you that I would show you. Let me move out of the way of the camera here and zoom in a touch. I'm going to zoom in a bunch, actually. If you see this right here, let the camera focus. There we go. That should be good right there. Might be kind of hard to see because it's bright. It's bright, so right there it says on the screen. I can't tell on the camera. I think you should be able to see that right there. It says HRI200 WIRESx. And then it has my frequency over there. And the way you get it to that mode, turn it off. And while you're turning it on, these two buttons in the middle right here, which are both, one of them says DX, one of them says GM, and they're both yellow. They're both yellow right there. Hold those down and hit the power button. Now you hear it. Nope. See, that's the wrong one because it was the wrong beep when it powered on. I must not held them down good enough. Okay, so that's a 5-tone power on sequence. And then it comes up and it says HRI200 and Wires-X on it. So that's what it looks like. Oops, if I could keep from kicking my camera over. Or kicking my microphone over, rather. Let me set this back up. There we go. So anyway, so that's the Wires-X 200, and it disconnected from the room because I powered the radio off, and just now it reconnected back to the room as it should do. So on my laptop screen right there, which you can't really see in the camera, but on my laptop screen right there, it is what we were just looking at on the screenshot. It popped back up with all the different nodes in the room. KC5 HWB testing on Austin, Texas room. If I turn the volume up on the radio, I'll be able to hear myself in the radio and hear all the other stations in the radio also. But I don't want to hear myself, so I turn the volume down. But when someone else comes back to me, I can hear them in the radio, in the node, and I can hear them in the HT as well, because they're both on the same frequency. So, that is that. And some of you are going to look at me weird, like I said earlier, and say, like, why are you doing a Fusion video? You hate Fusion. I don't hate Fusion. I just don't think I like it as well as DMR. But, you know, to each his own. Ham Radio 2.0 is about what is new in amateur radio. And I give my opinions about most of it, but I like to be as well-rounded as I can, because there's a lot of people out there using Fusion and a lot of people who enjoy it. And I've checked it. They have a nationwide net. I think it's on Monday nights that they run out of the MW Wisconsin room. MWWIS is what it is, I think. So it's Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and they run the net out of that room. And you know, you'll have. It's been a couple months since I listened to it. Now, I think the last time I listened to it, there was like 40 check-ins, maybe 60 check-ins. So not nearly as much as the DMR net, the DMR Brandmeister net, or the DMR Worldwide net on Saturdays. But you know, and they may have more than that now. You know, maybe I'll listen to it next week and I'll hear 150 check-ins. I don't know. But they do have that available, and it's new, and it's, like I said, new in amateur radio, and that's really my focus for this series. What is new in amateur radio? So, 73 guys, thanks for watching. If you found me on YouTube, go to my website, livefromthehamshack.tv, or a new URL I got, hamradio2.com. Hamradio, and then the number 2.com. So, hope everyone has a Merry Christmas. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other suggestions for Fusion Wires-X videos, hit me up on the comments on YouTube or on the website. 73.